All right, so Monday we got 25 turns, 16 vaults, 9 on high bar. Really just ingraining technique. All right, guys, we want to make sure we get more days of this, so that's why I did these all on Monday. So now that you guys already have heard what is going on, so I did a lot of these first drills where I'm not getting my heels over my head. And I'm hollowing, I'm ducking my head, not so hot. But that was the first one where I started getting my heel drive over my head a lot better. And now I didn't do a quarter turn enough on this one. This one was more handspring-like. However, I did get a lot better of a heel drive into that arched extension. And yeah, much better. I appreciate you guys being patient with me. So now I'm really starting to try to think. That one I didn't really do. I'm trying to get that heel drive. And I felt a little whip there, but there's the heel drive where I'm just trying to over-exaggerate so I can feel that arch to the sit-up position like Daiki does. And it's starting to actually go pretty well. I'm splitting a lot more, but like I'm arching, and then I'm feeling a sit-up where I could pike and really wrap into the twist. And you could tell that rotation was getting a lot better. So it was feeling really good. And I was like, let's go to the real vault. And as you guys have probably remembered from previous attempts, going to the big boy vault never seems to be as good as I want it. Where my split got way better, and my hand and my shoulders are not in the right spot. My hand needs to be a little more back. Hold on, let me change that. There we go. My hand needs to be more on this side of the table, and my shoulders need to be blocking where my head comes through my armpit. And I am just not doing that at all. I'm driving my heels way more than I need to. And so, once again, I got overly ambitious and just went to the big boy vault and did not get the turns that I wanted. So I was like, let's call it. Let's go back to the drills and decide let's just start on high bar. And so this is what I was talking about the last time, where I'm trying to ingrain this head out, chest low technique on the kick through. So I'm looking at the bar, and now it's just such an aggressive pull where my hips are getting really close and my chest is super low. And that is a big, fast acceleration through that kick. So this is just, I'm warming up right now, but I'm trying to just get the brain firing with the muscle memory to try to make that happen before I actually start doing the releases. So, yeah, I can't do giants, guys. Sometimes I struggle. I think, the bar was super gritty, and so I was like, should I get off and chalk it up? I do end up doing that, but we'll get there. So yeah, that was a pretty pointless rest of that turn, but glad you guys got to see that. Oh shoot, let me change myself. I realize now I'm not in the best position for you guys to see this technique. And there we go. That should be much, much better too. So we're getting just the taps now. We're going to do our Tkachev. And so on my Tkachevs from the last week, I'm trying to watch the bar as I go through this tap a lot more. And I hang, hang is good. My head is staying neutral. It kicks back. My chest is staying low. I'm less pikey on that, which is good. But then I throw my head and I'm like, all right, not bad. I try to catch with my head out as well because I have a problem of ducking it when I do and losing sight of the bar. And let me see what you got. Is there a reason you prefer the Japanese style of the Kasamatsu rather than the Chinese or Korean? Actually, no. It's all the same. I just watch the videos of the Japanese more. But they all actually do the same technique where they drive their heels to a spot. They're already a quarter turn on. They sit up into a pike and then wrap in. And that's just something that I, as an American, never do. And I just watch the Japanese videos. But the Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans, they all use this same exact technique. And so it's just a general, Asian technique is a lot better in general. But I do just watch the Japanese ones. But you could watch anyone and you'd be good to go. And happy Sunday, Boom Boom Ray. Hope you're having a great one. And so we're getting there in terms of our taps. Let's dive back in. I'm trying to keep the form good, right? That's why we're changing all these techniques. And so, am I watching the bar? Does my chest stay low as I kick? That's good. I like it. And, would have been a little fingertips on that. And so you guys might notice there's a couple more people in the gym today. And we're going to have some Rob's feet Our teammate is going to be kicking a little bit. But these are coming along so much better. Like, I'm actually kicking through so much better. And the consistency is getting way better. And the knee bend, still slight there. But let's see. We kick much better through all of that. It's so nice and rewarding to see that this is actually working. And we're actually figuring out what is going to make this a lot more consistent and clean. So now I'm trying to do this layout Tkachev where I'm like keep my head up as I tap through the bar, and I'm actually not sold on it. I've done a couple of these. There's a part of me that doesn't think I need to actually throw my head back. I need to just keep it neutral. And so I kind of was just playing around with it, and it seemed like it's good. Thanks, Rob, for the feet. And that tap was honestly just way too early, so that was a big issue there. But we're ingraining some technique, and that was really the purpose of Monday, shake off the weekend and start getting ready and pave the way for the rest of the week. And so that takes us into Tuesday. And let me move myself so I'm not so aggressively in the way. We got 23 turns, 2 routines, and 10 strength turns. So we're doing pretty good in terms of our content for Tuesday. Tegan Jordan, I am doing great. How are you doing? I was excited to get this video out in time. And yeah, Tony's so much higher now too. The hang time, you get time to spot, grab, and when it's cleaner and tighter, you're not cutting off your angles that give you that height. So glad you're tuning in, Tony. I appreciate it. But yeah, so then we're gonna go into rings. I took 3 turns, and they were pretty rough turns. You're gonna see. Was not very happy. I was supposed to do a 7-part routine, but started getting some weird things started happening. And then I also decided to take a couple turns on horse, and we're going to see how those all go really soon. And is the goal to eventually connect all 3 Tkachevs? It's not. The goal is to do Cassina, Coleman, and then a Liukin a Liukin on its own, and then a straddle, or no, a layout Tkachev to a straddle half connected. I can do the 3, but I want the Liukin with the F, and then the D to D connection for +2. But, it would be nice to be able to do that. And what up, Amit? How are you doing? Hope everything's going well, and you're having a wonderful Sunday. And do you think that there will be a junior meet this year? Not this year, but hopefully next year. And guys, I am just sitting down all of my double fronts recently. It's kind of rough. But we're going to start ingraining that technique on the peach where I do that plange. I'm looking down the rail. Really good. I've got great shoulder angle. And then all of a sudden I hit the horizontal point, and now my weight's starting to shift back. Beautiful, beautiful. Watching the rails. And then start compressing and getting into that seat position. You want to look like you're sitting in a chair? Boom. I'm sitting in a chair, guys. That's the way. And then as my feet block my field of vision for the end of the bars, start watching my feet get that turnover. And I'm actually coming to terms with the fact that I want to keep my head in a little bit longer through this. I'm getting too antsy, and that's why my arms start bending. And do you have any drills for an Azarian cross? I actually might. Once I get to the ring strength portion, we'll start chatting about that. But we're going to just focus on the P-bars real quick because we had some really good turns. But I'm not following through as much as I want. And needless to say, that turn was still pretty good. And let's see in full speed. I planged that one up, but that was by far the closest I've gotten to locking my arms out. And now let's see, can we hit that seated position? Ooh, yeah, and we got actually a little more turnover right now, which is great. The more of that, the better. But yeah, oh shoot, I forgot to tell you guys, I was chucking the peach half today because I was feeling spicy. And we do it again. It's not perfect, but I was like, hey, it's nice just to check that one off the list, as well as the Giant Suarez. And I did it sloppy because I'll be honest, I was a little nervous going for it. But then I got to show you guys on this next one, I got a little too aggressive, and we're going to throw this in slow motion. Normally you want to stay in this point and just hover and rotate through this area. So now you'll see that my weight is coming forward a lot. And now my hands are landing exactly where they were. And I always want them to land a little bit back. And then I'm loose and I get and loosey-goosey. And I actually ended up jamming my wrist a little bit on that one. So lesson learned from me to you guys. Always stay tight even on your first turns because you can kind of jam it. And you can see I'm just a little like, we're fine, of course. Like, it's fine. But with where my wrist is at, I don't want to be jamming it anytime soon. And let's see. Let me check these out. And appreciate it, Tony. Appreciate it. And I know I am not going to be doing a Gaylord anytime soon. I will, maybe one day I will, just for entertainment, for your guys' purposes. But first I want to make sure I can get all my good skills and build some good technique there. But front giants are not my forte, I'll say that. And Obunga, what do you track in your journal during practice? I track all the things that I think I need to think about as I'm going through my practice. So every turn it's like, all right, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And then now what am I going to try on this next turn to make it better? And then did that work? Those are the types of things I'm tracking. And so what we were talking about last week is how to figure out how to get my momentum to really get me into the perfect position. So I was saying I need to look down the rails. I'm watching. Look down the rails. Good. So my chest is staying low and my feet are coming up in like this little snap action. And so now we're going to slowly move. And let's see, where do we catch? Good. I got to keep these heels together, though. That's going to be a note I take from this review for next week. Because, yeah, I got to keep those a little bit tighter. But then I fix, I stall a little bit. And then where am I looking? Down the rail. That's the secret. That's the secret to make things look good. So I want to just keep trying to mold that. I overshot that one just a little bit. I was like, Andre, take it back, bro. Take it back. We got to hit it just one more time, and we got to make it right. And let's see. You hit another peach to handstand today. Coach was talking about the same thing, hitting that planche position. Glad it's working. And so that one, obviously, I rushed a little bit. I didn't look down the rails, and I kind of cut that top part short. But once again, I'm like, Andre, let's do it again. And Owen, I have not actually tried a Liukin half before. To me, it doesn't seem like it would really be that beneficial. It'd be fun just to chuck, but I don't know. Some part of me is worried that I'll just like jack my shoulder up by, not really finishing the turn. And so look at that Makut's in the routine. It's always different doing the Makut's second when I do the Hanma before it. And so being able to be mentally prepared for that is a big sign that we're going to be making some big steps in the coming future on that skill. And that Healy, I actually bent my arms a little bit more than I wanted, but I was like, well, that's all right. We got the Makuts a lot better. And so we're going to see how this goes in the routine as well, because these are really important turns. And that last one was pretty square, but yeah, no, obviously that was not good. Not good at all, guys. It's fine. I'm actually pretty tired right now, and I remember I'm starting to get flashbacks from this routine. I'm pretty tired as of right now because I was fighting way too much on those first ones. So, walk down. Do I even do the pelt right here? Some part of me says I don't. Do I? Yep, I bail. I was like, Coach, I am done. And so that's something I wanted to kind of mention. I am gassed right now, and I'm wondering, I'm trying to find my cycle of, because you can't always have an exponential increase in your gymnastics. And so I was testing the waters and seeing, all right, is this week going to be, the past 3 weeks I've been going up. When am I going to crash again? And I'm starting to think this is my week that I crash. And if you remember to the previous weeks, my first 3 weeks, I went hard up, and then I dropped down. And then I started back where week 3 ended, and I started doing a real big progression. And now this is of 3 weeks of big progression, and now this is week 4 of that cycle, and I think I'm dipping again. So I'm starting to learn a lot about my body and when I can try to be at my peak performance. And it's seeming like the third week is going to be my best week. And that's when I should try to make my competitions happen. I need to start planning for that. But we're still going to have a couple more weeks to make sure this happens. And yeah, look at that guy just crumbling on the floor because it is a tough time. But we take it on the rings. Look at that guy. He is strong right there. All right, I'm going to take a couple quick questions real quick. And Tegan, you made your first full and a half this week on floor. Respect. I love to hear that. Making moves. And what did you make of your Tkachev? Oh, at what age? I think I was probably 13 years old when I got my first Tkachev. I'm not quite sure though. Don't quote me on that. And you're trying to find some good skills for level 9 rings routine. Tkachevs are always the way to go. Always the way, or not Tkachev, Yamawakis. They're very much needed. And where do you look when you do your Dyamadov? So always looking down the rail. Always looking down the rail. And then as you kick up, you're going to want to, you're going to want to follow your feet up. And then you're going to want to look towards the rail that your hand is going to land on. That's the best way for me to put that in a short message. And have you ever done an upper arm Makutes? No. Every time I do the upper arm skills, my chest just gets wrecked. And so I would love to do that, but the Hanma fulfills the requirement. And I kind of have a routine that, really focuses on the peaches and like all the high bar types of skills. So I don't necessarily need it. It would be nice, but I'll survive for now. And what do you think during your rings dismount? Aggressive throw. Like, I am talking over-exaggerate how much you're trying to throw those rings. Like, you want to chuck them to the point where they're like, you're trying to hit them all the way over here. And so, you guys see, I'm gassed today. This is a rough Tuesday. I'm trying these giants, and I'm like, Andre, thank God you're there. But all of a sudden, I start getting this, like, weird, like, tweak in my elbow. And I was like, what is going on? And so I'm starting to think maybe my body is just failing me this week because this is my down week. I shouldn't be pushing through. I need to just be more basics and not so much endurance is where I'm starting to come to terms with what is a down week, because you don't want to just stop entirely. You want to still be progressive in certain ways, but really it's those things that are extremely difficult that you just need to stay away from and just be all about your technique and ingraining. So that's what I'm starting to come to terms with, and we still have a lot of gymnastics to go through this video, but we're going to start figuring it out. And it's kind of nice just to know the general plan that I'm going to have going forward and what to expect after 3 weeks of increasing load on my training. So then I'm like, all right, let's go to horse and see if my wrist is feeling just as good as it did last week. And I will say it's not feeling so hot, and I'm also just getting frustrated doing these Busnari timers because I'm just out of practice. And this is a skill I feel like I've never really been out of practice on. And I was really hoping after last week, like my expectations were so high, and then all of a sudden I'm doing these and like my expectations are dropping significantly, and it's unfortunate. And key to lock in arms. Catching arms elbow or locking your arms on the Healy. That what you got to do on the Healy, your post arm, you want to favor your hip to your post arm, and that's the way to have a lot more pressure on that arm and less pressure on that post arm, because you bend your arm when you start falling over there. Really, what you need to do is try to do a Healy where you are getting your hip to your hand, and then you can get that hand down safely and smoothly. And have you ever... Oh, no. There we go. And what do you think during your rings dismount? Oh, wow. We already got all these. Sorry. I'm just rereading these. So, yeah, you guys. It's kind of... I'm trying to push through that wrist pain because if you remember, I jammed it pretty bad on that Suarez I did on P-bars. And so I'm like, all right, let's do it. But look how much I'm slowing down on those circles. And it's all because I'm not getting my weight over that right arm like I want. And then I'm stupid and I'm like, all right, let's do another one of these. Like, I should have called it already, but I do this and like I just catch it weird. And I'm like, okay, yeah, no. There's a certain point when you're like, yeah, I shouldn't have done this. And that was that point right there. So I decided let's just hit our pommel horse endurance so I can keep that strength going. But quite unfortunate. And I'm like, all right, that's just going to be the way the cookie crumbles. And how did you get an Olympic and world platform? Oh, that's not a podium right there. That is actually that's just here. Let me go back. That's just like a little wooden base essentially. It's really nothing that intense. Not that intense. And yeah, Tony, it's not fear. It's pain. It's pain. Like it's just something your brain won't let you lean because it knows that your wrist is not gonna like it. And so we're going to come to that in a little bit. And so you guys, I want to tell you, this is the strongest I've ever been. I've never been able to go that high on an Azarian. And I look over at Andre. I'm like, whoa, dude, maybe this day isn't as bad as I thought. Like, I'm feeling strong. I'm feeling juicy. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, keep going. Let me just say, there's some really exciting things in here. I'm like, oh my God, look at that face. Look at that face, guys. I'm like, yo, Andre, I thought this was the worst day ever. But look how excited I am. I'm like, yo, something big happened. Like, every bad thing that we just did has gotten better. It's all worth it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like doing a Azarian Maltese. I'm looking over like, why is this so easy? Like, I'm strong now, Andre. I was like, yo, Andre, we got to take these weights off. And so we eventually did take the weights off, and we came to this horrible conclusion that Robert, one of the guys you already saw with his feet on high bar, he put an extra 10 pounds on there, and I didn't know the 10 pounds was there. And so instead of that being 30 pounds, it was 40 pounds, and that's why everything was so easy. And so then I took it off, and I was like, oh, damn it, Andre, this day was not as good as I wanted. But we still pushed through and did a lot more ring strength. And I was just so excited because I thought I was getting so much stronger. I was going like to planche, and now I'm going to like back lever. I'm like, yeah, that's more on par for where this day is. But if you had no pain, what would a normal pommel warm-up be for you? So for my normal pommel warm-up, I would generally go like, it would mimic my routine just in terms of basics. And so, yeah, I'm still trying to have a good time, you guys. Even though it's not a good day. I'm like, Andre, let's see if we could do a pinata. I'm like, yeah, no, those things are impossible. But I would do, because I would do like 2 scissors. Then I would go to a Busnari timer where I would just do 2 one-pommel circles. Then I would go into flares to mimic my drop down for Busnari and my flare spindles. Then I'd circle up to the middle. I'd do a half Savato because I do a half Savato in my routine. Then I would do 1 Russian to mimic my triple Russian. I would do a step up or a Stockley A back up to the middle, and then I'd do a Stockley down for my tongue fei and my Magyar and my tongue fei. Then I would do a quarter turn, and then I'd do a dismount, and that would essentially be my warm up right there for horse. And Rob crushing your hopes and dreams, dude. He did. But honestly, it was all in good fun. I had a laugh afterwards, so I was like, that's fine. And what is the feeling when you are going to the Olympics? I mean, hopefully you're prepared and you're confident. You don't want to go into the Olympics being scared and having fears that things aren't going to happen, because those will build up in your head, especially with that added pressure. And I can't say I know your brother, David Pachinka. I'm sorry, but is he a gymnast as well? Where would I have met him? And let's see. We also got, how much input does Andre have into your program? I mean, honestly, like, he kind of just goes with the flow. Everyone has a certain program. I tell him, and I tell him what I want, and then we'll be malleable through that schedule. But, I mean, most of the time we have a set plan for what the day is supposed to be. And I'd say, like, it's a 50-50 talk. But in the end, like, we both come to terms with what the plan is going to be. And, he trains at Minnesota? Oh, very nice. I can't say I have met him before, but that's awesome. I really hope the NCAA programs are staying. And what are some good exercises to increase flexibility and mobility for the wrist? I mean, really what I try to do is build strength through range of motion. So, I mean, I'll do exercises where I spread my fingers at when I'm in flexion, and I'll do that, and I'll also put my wrist down as much as possible and try to do finger taps one at a time just to get the nerve endings firing. But that's how I build my range of motion. And he trains with Shane? Yeah, no, that's a good spot to be. It's a good spot to be. He used to train at Woga. Love Woga. That's a great spot. And why did you put your tongue fei between your Magyar and Savato? It was so I could take away a lot of my skew from my after my Magyar. That was the biggest reason. So I could continuously turn into a quarter turn and take away a couple circles. But yeah, so now we're going to get into Wednesday. And we're going to start, I'm like, all right, yesterday sucked. Let's turn this week around. And look at that, to my butt. It's not turning around. But honestly, it does get a little better. And that was nice height, but that was way too much cowboy. So that's what I was thinking at the end of that. I was like, oh yeah, that was too much cowboy. I was like, well, let's move on. Let's see if we can try to get this punch down for the Randy a little bit better. And honestly, I just was not feeling it. I'm like, really, honestly, I didn't think it was this bad of a week until I'm watching it right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, really a big slap in the face of saying, hey, Sam, you need to really take this 3-week up and then 1 week down into account because it's very apparent. But that was a nice double full. Here, you'll see the difference that I did on that one. I punch here, and then I punch here, and then I end up in the middle. So I kind of started, that's something I've noticed the Japanese actually do a lot. They favor the right side all the time as they punch through their turns. So yeah, no, it's just a little something that I started picking up as we get into the later into the week as well. And do I have any good stretches or exercises for your rotator cuffs? I will say the best things that I do are, I have a video actually. It's my pre-warm-up video on YouTube. Go to the very end, and there's a lot of good exercises I have on there for you. And do I know Chris Lambert? He was really good on palms. I can't say I know him as well. When going for double fulls back, how do you get the rotation to get all the way around? Something I really like to do here. I do a back triple full here. So this is, you do the same thing for your back double full. So you keep your hands low to the ground, and then from here, I get a little archy on, this isn't the best one I could have done, but you want to lead with your hips and then have and keep your arms a little bit lower. I got a little too high on this one, so it's not the perfect example, but I like to watch my hands, I want to watch my hands as I snap through the round off, and then as I punch through, I'll lead with my hips, and then I'll use my hands to catch up to my hips. That's the best way to get your wrap into those back twisting passes. So, not bad, but as you can tell, I over-rotate and take a couple hops back. So, it wasn't perfect, but I know what I need to do. And then we get into the routine. I'm like, all right, double front. Wasn't where I really would have wanted it to be, but that's fine. And this is the big test. Could I have done a double front out of that? Nah, probably not. I'm like, oh, geez. So, not really the best week. Not the best week as of this point. And what tips do you have for putting a front double full on floor and for punching out of it? I'd say you want to lead with your hand. And so when I punch, I try making sure that as I punch the ground, I arch my chest and I leave my my swing arm in front of me, and then I pull my shoulders into an arch, and then it's kind of like the back double full. You want to wrap into it after that. So it's like you punch your arm up into this arch, you watch it, and then as your chest comes up, you wrap into it like a back double full. And what else we got? Pearson, shoot, what do you got for me? You hit me with a no? From who? And but yeah, that'll be, and that's kind of where keeping your head and really favoring that right side is also going to help your connections. And so yeah, guys, I'm dead tired. That it was just a rough week right here. And Obunga, I used to practice mindfulness a lot more, but now in a way, gymnastics is mindfulness. It's always being mindful of the one thing that you have in front of you, and that's really what I started doing on these turns here. And so that I'm being very mindful of every Takachi, of where my head needs to be, and really how can I make each turn perfect and make it worthwhile. That's the best way to put it. And yeah, I'm getting okay. So the thing is, I no longer have the mat slide on this Wednesday. So that's the big goal. And I was like, I want to get away from, because this is a little fear factor. I'm trying to be good with, and that was a much better. We're going to slow-mo that one real quick. I'm trying to get away from always relying on the mat being there, because whenever the mat's gone, things get a lot harder, that's for sure. Because now you have to think that, hey, if I do this wrong, I could bite the bar. And not that I'm really that scared, but it's not like, there's still something in your head that is going to try pulling you away from the right technique. So here I am trying the Casina. I needed to do the first one and just take it back a little bit just to get just to get like, that fear away a little bit. But then I do notice that as we get the mats away, I start bending my knees a lot more. And all of this was just really late. Still bending my knees. It's compensation for the fear. Like, yeah, I just took that really far away. So right now I'm telling myself, I'm like, Sam, just do it right. Trust the technique, dude. You're fine, and still bend the knees. But the chest stays pretty low, which I liked this turn a lot more. And I wasn't quite as pikey, but I did bend my knees a lot still on that one. So I was like, oh gosh, super late catch, super sketchy. Fingertips, look at all that speed. Smackdown, that kind of dazed me a little bit. But, hey, sometimes you just overreact. So I was like, Sam, you did it. You got the fear factor. Let's see if we could get these Liukins and Takachas to be a little bit better, where your head position is where you want. And things were getting a little weird, because normally my head's ducked at this point in time, and it's not. And it's because I'm trying to watch the bar so that this part happens a lot, and my head snaps me forward into it so that I can stand up a lot earlier. But I wasn't getting that. I was not getting that. And that Coleman was flawless. It was good, I will say, but I can't say it was flawless. There's still a little more kick I could do, but I appreciate it. So I'm trying to go big on these, and, I was just like, the frustration you can tell at the end of that turn is there. And I'm like, listen, Andre, I can't do more of these right now. The technique just wasn't feeling right. But I can always rely on my half talk to make me feel a little bit better. And, that was all right. Just feeling loosey-goosey, that's for sure. And so, yeah, we're going to go into this guy, I want to make sure, let's see if these taps are good. Because that's the big thing about the only thing I'm thinking about is keep your knee straight. And, I'll say that was pretty good. And this is how I want to release for the Casina. Like, I'm piking too much when I actually go for it. And so it's nice to know that I can do it. I still am struggling to translate it when I do go for the actual. And that was a little off. For that Coleman. But that's fine. And let me see what he got. And do you ever get peaks on or updates on how your international competitions are doing international competitors are doing with their practice? I'll see on Instagram from a lot of people that I follow, and they seem like everyone's doing pretty dang good. But, other than that, I don't know too much about where they're at. A lot of people just post the good things or the really bad things, but no one really will show everything, so it's hard to judge. But, I'm seeing a lot of good skills out there, and it feels like most people are getting back to normal. All right, so, this is Wednesday still, so that's fine. And Beloff High Bar in 2020, I don't know if we're going to be, or 2021, I don't know if we're going to be doing any bells, but that's a different beast right there. And how long before competitions do you stop doing routines over pit? I'd say probably like 6 weeks before. That's usually about the amount of time to confidently make the transition, just in terms of your visual field. And Obunga, you're fine, man. Keep asking the questions. That's the way to go. And Pearson, even though it's rough, it's still clean. That's the goal, is that even when it's bad, you can try to make it good. But we're going to take this right into our updated vaults from Monday to Wednesday. How much have I progressed? And I'll say a significant amount. I'm coming off this table with a lot more heel drive. And look at that. I could snap into a twist really well here. Like my elbow, my shoulder's behind me. Like if you guys chill with me here, like be straight, but then fall back with your shoulder. How much easier is it for you to just snap into this rather than being here and just going here? Like this is what I've been trying to get for so long. And so actually I'm going to move this guy up here so I can show you guys a little bit more. But I was having a really good vault drill day. And after Monday, I didn't want to do any big boy vaults. I was like, no, let's just keep ingraining good technique. And so this was a great ingraining technique day. Like, look, okay, I piked a little much on that one, I will say. But look at this post-table action right here. Significantly better, into a point where I'm actually like sitting up. And I'm not trying to twist right now, which is the exciting part. And so now we've got that ultra slow-mo. Now let's see. Look at that pre-fight. Look at those legs together. Gosh. It's so nice to see. So then now I'm following through this block hand. Follow, follow, follow. And my heels are driving. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And then look at that sit-up. I've just got so much whip and momentum. I'm loving it. And tell the fellas you said hello. I most definitely will, Tony. And how you doing, Tara? Hope things are going well. And guys, this is all just like such an exciting day for vault. Like I've never felt this confident on these drills. And do you think it's physically possible to have perfect pre-flight on a cause double? Yeah, dude. Yonghak Seong, 100% the man with perfect pre-flight for it. But that's really what I'm striving for. That's what I'm striving for. Like, you know, I had a 1/10er there, and I kind of got a little blocky there. But look at how aggressive my chest position changed through that vault right there. And actually, the last one I do is my favorite one. So I'm really looking forward to that. And so this was another one that I think pretty well. I started trying to turn these. So pre-flight, really good. And so, yeah, now I'm sitting up. And the only change, I'm like, oh, wow, we're coasting. We coasted. We got rotation as well as a lot. Oh, yeah, this one happened a little fast. I forgot to film that in slow-mo. And this is my favorite one. This was the highlight of the day. This is the one I ended on because I was so stoked on it. And I do have a little heel split, but that's fine. That's fine. But look at this. I am looking right at my hand. That is amazing. And my heels are coming towards this wall, like very aggressively as I'm blocking through this hand. I'm blocking and driving. That is the hardest part to get on a vault. And then I rise. Things are going so well. And look at this height. I'm like ready to wrap it up right now. I'm like, oh snap. Look at this cruise. Look at this cruise. I just love the way this looks. Whoo. And we've got huge. And so if I can do that when I go to the big boy vault, we have a huge win. And so now is time for a crazy update, guys. Crazy update. And hold on, before I do the crazy update, I'm going to read a couple questions. And doing well, you just got to your room after having your third child. Congratulations, Tara. Thank you for joining. My gosh. I feel like you need to rest and recover. You don't need to be hearing me spouting off nonsense about gymnastics. And Tegan, you're working hard on your Sukahara lay and you're close. Well, I hope these drills are helping you out. And Sam, you're way back on the board on that last one. Yeah, there is a little bit of that. But I will say I'm fine with being on back of the board as long as my pre-flight and post-flight end up having power. And chat, Mr. Jack Wick, Dad, no, you're not asking me if I'm your dad, are you? Because there's big no. And any tips on making the jump from cause to cause full? Honestly, it's all about pre-flight. And if you have a sit-up, it's going to be the same weight. You just have to wrap a little harder. And how many hours do you practice a week? Right now I'm at like 3 to 4 a day. 3 to 4 hours a day. And we're starting our 2-a-day practices. But before we dive into Friday, I got to give you an update. I went to the doctor on Thursday, and he wanted to check out how things were. Because if you remember, I want to say 3 weeks ago, I went into the doc to get checked up, and he was giving me all these, like the Mobic, the anti-inflammatories. I was doing Ionto patches. I was icing. I was doing all these things just to try to reduce the inflammation. So I had my follow-up checkup to see how much those things had been working. And they were, when he did his ultrasound again to see what the inflammation was like, he's like, it is working, but it is a very, very slight amount of work that it actually is progressing. And so he was like, well, how do you feel about just hitting you with another cortisone? And I was like, all right, like, yeah, I think I'm ready for it. This week was rough. Like last week, I would, if he had asked me last week, I would have said, no, things are feeling good. My wrist is mobile. I'm taking turns on horse. But then this week happened and it was hurting and I wasn't able to do as much. I was like, yo, doc, just hit me with that cortisone. And so he literally just whipped it out and like got me stuck, which he was actually really cool about it. Because normally they go in on this side of my joint on my hand. And this is where all my inflammation is down here. And they'll usually inject it here and all the cortisone will spread through the joint to the affected area. This time, he went right into the area with the ultrasound so you could see where the inflammation pocket was. And he injected slowly through the entire course of my wrist, the cortisone, so that it actually dispersed everywhere. And it's feeling so good right now. So I want to say the rest of this week is actually going to be super weak because after you get a cortisone, it's sore and you're supposed to take a couple days off. But this coming week is when I'm going to be able to start testing it out. And I used to have this huge pocket of inflammation in here. It's gone. Like, it is incredible. Like, I think my last cortisone just didn't hit the right area, but this one did. And I think that the future is going to be very bright and there's going to be a lot of horse in the coming weeks. But with that being said, I'm going to take just a couple more questions. And let's see. You've always thought you were one of the most ideally looking, attractive men. Well, thank you, Lindsay Lohan. I appreciate that. I would never have thought. Oh, that's too funny. And let's see. What else we got? And thinking about starting to use wrist pause for vault. No, I don't want to get too reliant on those things. I'd rather have a nice strong wrist. And whenever I did use wrist supports, I felt like my strength really decreased. And then it would affect me on other events. But, you know, I'm not going to count it out. But I'd rather just get the cortisones going. And so after I got that shot, I was like, all right, well, now I'm just doing floor and ring strength for this Friday. And so here's what, like, look how huge all of these are. Hold on, let me play this back real quick. Look at how high I am on this. This is insane. Like, I could do a triple front right there, guys. So I'm pretty happy with where my pre-flight is, actually. And this is where I was talking about that twisting technique going. So I'm here. Oh, wait, this is the double front. Sorry, yeah, this is fine. I do the double front half, and we've just got all the height in the world. So that double full was super spicy. But this is where I'm starting to think about that Randy, of where you kind of leave that hand in front, and you're arched through your takeoff. And now, so I started figuring it out pretty well right here. And so here I am. I punch, and I'm trying to arch a lot more on this part. So these weren't absolutely perfect. I actually went to Tumble Track on Saturday and figured it out a lot more. But I'm like, all right, these aren't too shabby right here. Hold on, I need to take it back real quick so we could go through. But yeah, you see how that arm is really just trying to hover in this area as the rest of my body kind of rotates around it. And then I can throw that arm to help initiate that twist. It's going to be so helpful once I have to do that as my third pass. And so it felt good. And I was like, all right, Andre, we're going to do our upgraded first half like in the routine without the back 2.5 because I couldn't use my wrist on the round off to snap. But I was like, all right, double front half, we're chilling. Always easy to do it because it's first. The real test is going to be on these next two passes. And so this is Randy time. And I'm like, can I use that technique after I'm a little gassed after those first two passes? And sure enough, it's not perfect. You see how I went super crooked on that? But it's because I didn't have enough heel drive and I didn't arch enough on the takeoff. But needless to say, I was confident enough to go for it and not fall. So I was pretty happy about that. And do I have any cardio/endurance sense that you dread or hate to do but helps you the most? Honestly, I'd say every cardio or endurance. I might say the rings one is the one I think I hate the most just because I feel like it hurts so much. And so that's supposed to be my double full. And it did not go well. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try it one more time this way. And honestly, I wasn't even thinking the right things on that. This time I kind of took a moment and I was like, all right, get your hand out in front. And it went much better. But I do have legs of lead right now. Legs of lead. And yeah, now I'm just doing a little endurance here at this point. So it was, you know, I was very happy with getting that Randy done and getting that double full done fifth pass. Like, those were two big wins on this day where I really can't do too much. And Angel, you love that tech. We're all more comfortable wrapping a back double full now that you're using the TBT second arm delay. Yeah, no, super crucial to be doing that. And would you ever bring back the triple double on floor? No, unfortunately not. My ankles just can't take a bad landing from that. I wish I could, but it's gonna be different. And, oh, shoot, sorry, Ewan, I missed that. So here I am trying my strength again, but does your technique change when you move from cos 1.5 to cos double? It used to change, but in the future, I'm actually not going to change it, which is the difference. Because if you have the right sit-up, it all just depends on how long you sit up. Rather, like, you want to have the same pre-flight extension and sit-up. It's just if you do the cos double, you'll sit up a lot less quick. And for a cos 1.5, you'll sit up a lot longer so that you can get that over rotation. You don't want you're going to square up more if you don't sit up as much. So yeah, that's going to be the difference. That's going to be the difference. But yeah. Would you ever? Oh yeah, we're all good. So yeah, I'm like, let's make the most of this day and just get our strength done the way it needs to be done. And so we've made a lot of progress in terms of our strength, even though this is a week where it's a down week. So honestly, me getting that cortisone shot couldn't have come at a better time. And so I'm definitely, laptop's in the way of my face, but it's hurting, guys. It's hurting. So, I am going to start just taking into account in the future weeks. I'm going to go hard for 3 weeks, and I'm going to take a real chill technical week on that 4th week. But I figured since I'm not doing a 1-on-6 on this Friday, let's grind out that strength rather than do it on Saturday, and then let's just have a lot of recovery time. So yeah, pretty much all I did on Saturday was a tumble track routine just for endurance because I was pretty wiped from that. The rings got my upper body on Friday, and that floor set got me pretty bad on my ankles and my legs entirely because I did lift after that Friday workout as well. My legs were gassed, so I was like, let's just take a non-impact and chill endurance routine that still builds technique, and let's do that on Saturday. So it ended up being a very light week towards the last half of that week. So in conclusion, we took 98 turns for the whole week, and a lot of that is going to come for our lack of a Friday and kind of a Saturday as well. And also 6 routines down from 4. That's all that Friday. But it was nice because I feel very recovered right now. And we did 20 turns of strength, which was actually what it should have. I didn't do much the week before. So being able to jump in my strength turns was actually a nice gain while I was still recovering from the injection. So, that's really where we're at for the week. It was a good down week. I think it's nice just to figure this pattern out and where I need to take in progression for the next weeks. So, for floor, we're going to do the full first half difficulty in the routine next week. That's the big goal, getting that Randy a third pass and getting that 2.5 double front second pass. And we'll even try the double full because it didn't look good the first time, but it got a lot better the second time. And a horse, we're just going to test the wrist out again. Hope this injection helped quite a bit. On rings, we're getting that 7-part routine, which I didn't get on that Tuesday. So I was a little disappointed about that. But next week, we're going to make the change. Vault, I do want to see if I can do a couple big boy vaults where I have that same technique that I got on Wednesday. Because I was very happy to see that they were pretty consistent. And P-bars, I need to clean up that P-chaff and Suarez. I need to get that front 1.25. That's the last skill I haven't gotten on P-bars. So we're going to get there very, very soon. And then after that, we're going to do high bar, the releases with no mat slide in combination. So we really want to make sure we can keep those. You have to think about things differently when you don't, your whole 2 minutes before you take your turn are geared towards thinking about what you need to get done. It's a lot easier. When you have another skill after it and you don't have those 2 minutes, things change. You need to start relying on muscle memory. But that's what I want to start building, is how to have that quick turnaround of getting good technique ingrained after having my mindful thought from one skill to the next. And on P-bars, we actually also I want to do Heelys and Makutzes on the Sting mat and progress from beyond just the 4-inch mat. And so honestly, guys, that's everything we've got for this week. I'm going to chill around for a little bit for a little Q&A if you guys got any extra questions. But that is our week. It's a very strange week, but I think the next 3 weeks are going to be very exciting and very powerful. But yeah, with that being said, let us take a couple of